Aloha, greetings and welcome to another edition of our podcast, Discovering Tangaloa, coming to you from the motherland of Samoa. It's a podcast of Tangaloa tradition teachings about the spirituality behind our culture to help decolonize our mind and restore our pride in being Samoan, especially for those in the diaspora struggling with a dual identity, trying to remain loyal to the mainland and doing the right thing by their country of birth. Our Tangaloa tradition teaching this week is on the topic of deflowering the virgin bride. Who is Tangaloa? Good question. Tangaloa is the creative spirit that your ancestors believed in, that was replaced by Jehovah, the God of the white man. Tangaloa, translated into English, means boundless force. You can neither touch nor see this boundless force called Tangaloa, but you can feel it. It's an energy, it's a vibration that can move and influence the way you think and the way you do things. It's a divine presence that you experience. This week we'll experience Tangaloa through unlocking the meaning, the theology, the spirituality behind the sacred ritual of deflowering the Virgin Bride. And in doing so, it brings us closer to discovering Tangaloa. So welcome to more of our Tangaloa tradition teaching. Our Lord tradition teaching this week is about the sacred ritual of deflowering the Virgin Bride. Deflowering the Virgin Bride. It's an event, it's a celebration, it's a sacred ritual of our culture, Samoan culture. And it's a celebration that begins, it's an event that happens when a visiting paramount chief from another village come asking the hand of the daughter of another paramount chief of another village in marriage. And so they would travel, walk, sometimes they come by canoes, over to this village. If they're walking, the villages in between, by this time, everyone in Samoa knows that this chief is coming over to court the daughter of another chief. And so everybody in the villages in between would join in and would follow them and come. And when they get there, it's the usual protocol. It's the kava of the welcoming ceremony of the kava. And then during the speeches, that's when the talking chief of the visiting paramount chief would then announce the reason why they're here, as if nobody knew. But then here comes the moment, because everybody now will wait and see what the daughter of the paramount chief says, the whiangainga of paramount chief family, the whiangainga of the village and the community that we call ole taupo, ole tausala. So they all wait. And then if and when she accepts the proposal, that's when they go into the ritual. And the ritual happens this way. A Samoan fale would be partitioned off, and one side would be the well-wishers or the tapuainga of the family, the village, and the visiting village entourage, and the people in the villages in between. So there'll be many people here. But behind the curtain would be just the talking chief of the visiting paramount chief and the bride-to-be. And that's where the ceremony starts. It's when the talking chief gets a piece of siapo and tie that piece of siapo around his fingers. And with his fingers tied with the siapo, he would penetrate the private parts of the whiangainga, of the taupo, of the tausala. And then he gets that piece of siapo and throws it over the curtain or the partition. And when that piece of siapo is covered with blood, smeared with blood, then all hell breaks loose, because what that means is the bride is a virgin. And that's how important virginity is for a woman in our Samoan culture. It's very important. And that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when the singing starts. That's when the dancing starts. And that's when there's joy, and then the feast, and the celebration will go on. And I've always said that the hardest part of this covenant relationship between a man and a woman of the whiangainga is the part of the man, because the man is forever, is providing for his whiangainga. Every day he goes to the maumanga, plants the taro, the banana, koko ufi, fai popo, mai fafie, make the umu, make the food, pulls his canoe out, goes out into the ocean, go fishing to provide. And then he protects that no harm would come to his sister, his whenenga, taupo, tausala. Even he would put his life on the line for her. So I've always mentioned that the part of the man is always, it's kind of hard. But now that we're talking about deflowering the whenenga, no, that is a piece of cake compared to what the whenenga went through all her life, up to this moment which she's going to get married. Because the virginity part plays a huge part of this. You see, growing up, the whenenga, a young girl, she's always with ngalutene o le awaluma pea, always with these grown ladies of the village who will chaperone her wherever she goes in the village to make sure that the cat callers and the young lawasa guys of the village don't try and do any mischief and so forth. And in doing that, they raise her to become graceful and to deal with situation with grace. Ele so nangao ya, ele kako, ele tautaraso, I found my pipa. So this is the training, but the biggest training, of course, is from her mom. And so knowing that, because now that she goes into this ritual and now she comes out on top, she's validated that she kept her part of the bargain because she remained a virgin. And you can imagine, that's why the celebration, everybody's going berserk. Celebration, the village, proud of their tausala, of their taupo. And the parents, can you imagine? But my feeling goes to the guy, to the brother. He's celebrating, but not as raucous as the rest of the village and everybody else. In his heart, he's so touched that his sister, even though his work is all physical, true, but his sister has had to go through controlling her emotions, being in control of her desires, because as a young girl growing up, girls in puberty, all of a sudden they feel these feelings that they've never had before, and not being accustomed to it, they don't know how to handle it. All of a sudden they find themselves sweaty palms when they're sitting next to another boy. And then when she's in the company of a good-looking young man, all of a sudden she feels like giggly and not herself. All these things, she has no idea where they're coming from. But it's her body changing and her emotions. And it's that control. It's that discipline. That's what the brother sees. And he's so proud of her. So proud. That's why when I see a post, there was a post up on social media, some young girls in the diaspora saying that deflowering is an act of the devil. It's evil. It's practice of pagan worship and all these foul things said about our culture. And I don't blame them because they don't understand it. Their parents haven't told them about this. And if they knew, I'm sure they would love and appreciate what it stands for, what it's symbolic of, and the spiritual essence of it. Yeah, so it's very important for us to pass this on to the next generation. Yeah, and it's people like these young ladies on Facebook and on social media saying that this is barbaric. It's a deflowering a virgin is barbaric. But it's because of the not understanding. That's why when you get these girls, usually you see them, a group of 7 or 10 girls, doing what girls do. They giggle and they talk and they laugh. Maybe they talk about boys, I don't know. But that's what they do. But what I know is when they find out that there is a girl amongst them that is a virgin, all of a sudden everything shifts. Because now they're looking at her and like she's the laughing stock. And they say, oh, you've been living under a rock? Where have you been? Where did you come from? Sort of this attitude and making fun of her, bullying her in a sense. So if you find yourself in that predicament, young girls, and you are a virgin, don't be perturbed, but say something like, I know that, nobody wants to drive a used car. Everybody wants to drive a brand new car. And, someone who's lost their virginity, I see as a used car, say something like that. And then say used cars are always, the upholstery is either torn or, faded, something like that. And when it goes, sometimes it blows smoke out the back end because so many people have driven it, have owned it. And that's why I'm proud that I am a virgin. And I will hold on to my virginity. That's my part of being the covenant with my brother and with the men of my family. And then just walk away. Something so you won't feel bad, but walk away feeling good. And don't ever feel sorry for being a virgin. And that's why they call you Fiangaio. That's why they call you Taupo. That's why they call you the Tausala. Because Taupo is the cost of, the price of. And Po is you are the Potumpo of the family. You hold the family, integrity of the family. When this comes out in flying colors, no pun intended, but when during the ceremony and during this ritual that there's blood on the siapo, you come out in flying colors, and they hold you so high in esteem. They look up at you, and you know you've done something good. And yeah, Taupo. And that's why they call you Tausala. Tausala. Tau is the price of, and Sala is a sin that's been committed or a crime that's been committed. There's a legend story in Samoa about Lufasietu. Lufasietu is the baddest dude in the legends and myths of Samoa. Lufasietu lived on the first heaven. Tangaloa Langi lived on the 10th heaven. And so Tangaloa Langi people came down to go fishing for dinner. And they came back empty-handed. Lufasietu raises chickens. So they thought, wouldn't hurt if we take a few of Lufasietu's chicken for our dinner tonight. So they stole a few, and then they left. And Lufasietu heard about it. So he chased after them. Langi Sautua Rua, Langi Sautua Tolu, fourth heaven, fifth heaven, all the way up. Now Tangaloa Langi, from his heavenly abode in the 10th heaven, heard this commotion. So he came down to the 9th heaven. And that's where Lufasietu ran into him, face to face. And so Tangaloa Langi said to him, what's going on? What's all the commotion? And that's when Lufasietu told Tangaloa Langi what happened, that his people and stole his chickens and all this. Before Tangaloa Langi could reply, his daughter, Amoa, walked past him and came and laid herself between Lufasietu and her father, Tangaloa Langi. She laid herself in between. And in those days, they don't cover their breasts, they don't cover themselves, and just a little tea leaf to cover their private parts and so forth. So she laid herself down as the price that her family will pay for the crime that they committed. Virginity. It saves lives. Virginity. It's part of our culture that is sacred. It's sacred from the Creator, who wanted everything to multiply, the continuity of his creation. She laid herself down, offered herself as the price the family will pay for the crime they committed. The part of the woman in this covenant of the Whiangainga is spiritual. And it's not easy. always the woman that does the hardest part. Look at bearing a child. Listen to her scream. All we go through is just a mere circumcision. It's like cutting your nails off. She does this, and she'll lay her life on the line. That's why I've seen this, and I'm sure you've seen it too. People of my age, you've seen fights break out in the village, and then someone gets knocked out, and then they start beating on him. And then the whengainga, the sister of that boy, will throw herself, or the boy's mother, or a woman from this family, a whengainga of this family, will throw herself on this boy. And all the guys would back away. And, the beast would go, nature of the beast, these things. What we do in the contrary, not a contrary, in the covenant of the whengainga is nothing compared to what your sister and my sister, our whengaingas go through. And it's very important. True story. In closing, true story. A friend of mine, someone in our village that we grew up together, same age. We went to school together. We set the exam, we passed, and we went to Kumalo. We were there and set the exam, and we passed, and we went to Samoan college together. But growing up, as we got older, people always looked at us and says they would make a good team together. They look well together. And they're always trying to attach us together. And we just laughed it off, but we knew what was going on. So we grew up and we went our separate ways. A true story, our separate ways. And then just a few years ago, and she was married to a whaiwhiao. So I heard, and I was happy for her. And just a few years ago, I met her at a wedding. So we sat down, we were talking, and then we talked, and we came to what I'm doing and so forth. And she says, well, I like what you're doing. I like the way you see things. You see things from the perspective of our ancestors. I never had that fortune to be able to, because I was always with the Bible, and says, I understand. And then she said that on her wedding night, her husband, the whaiwhiao, was surprised because she was a virgin. And so she laughed, and she says, well, it wasn't like the way you explain it, that the whole village was there, and it was just us, and no deflowering the bride and the virgin and so forth. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Is at the wedding we were talking, and I said, that was the occasion. That was the celebration. You celebrate, your husband celebrate. Because she said that the following day, her husband took the towel that they used, and he went to his mother, took the towel and showed her, and thanked her mother for looking after her, for taking care of her, for bringing her up in this manner. And it made him feel honored. And she was telling me this, and sitting there, she says, but we didn't go through the deflowering, as you put it. I said, no, you did. You did. In the culture, it's just the virgin and the tulafale, the talking chief. That was it. Deflowering. You were the virgin. Was the tulafale. He was your talking chief. Don't forget. Tangaloa was there too. Because even though it was a bridal suite of air-conditioned rooms in a hotel or whatever, he was there. Yova was there too, because them two are the same. So every time a virgin surrenders herself to the man that she's going to spend the rest of her life with, it's deflowering the virgin bride for all the right reasons. And so we finished and we parted, we hugged and we cried a little, reminiscing about the old times and talking about these things that we never brought up when we were kids. But according to where the world is going today, I think it's important that our young people know about these virtues. They're not barbaric. Once you understand and know the spirituality behind it, the theology and the meaning behind it, then you will know, hold on to it. It's a validation that you stood your grounds against your desires and that you stood your grounds to remain with your end of the covenant, being the family. That is Tangaloa tradition teaching for this week. And I hope that we all hear and heed the silent whispers of our ancestors this week. And every word we say and every good deed we do for others, may we do it in that boundless force we call Tangaloa. From all of us here in Samoa to all of you in the diaspora, Tofa Soifua, Ioto Manuia.
O te sa